Good afternoon. Glad to see you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So good to see you.
This is ours. Glad to have you on call. We have all our partners
I
across
should be
India.
thanking you. आप क्या बात कर रहे हो यार, for
Very
giving
nice.
this opportunity.
We are today here for a very interesting topic. By the name itself, I'm sure, by the title itself, I'm sure we all are excited how to enhance or enhancing your business journey. And who better than the guest we have today to explain about it, who has actually been the catalyst, main driver, and leading from front an entity which has seen a CAGR of more than 45% in asset in year on year in the recent times. And since the time he took over in 2011, we have seen the company which he is managing as vice chairman and managing director. That company has seen leaps and bound growth. Yes, we are talking about one entity, one company called Mirae Asset Investment Managers India. And we are having our guest, Mr. Swarup Mohanty, who is the vice chairman and managing director of Mirae Asset India Management. He's there with us. Just to take as much I can add about Mr. Mohanty in brief. He is he's been in financial service industry for almost, I'd say 29, 30 years, 3 decades. Primarily in the asset management side, he has seen the journey of the whole mutual fund industry and of course spearheading this entity, Mirae Asset Investment Managers, since 2011. While he's a professional with postgraduate management degree with him and BCom honors, he is also part of the SEBI Mutual Fund Advisory Committee and Index Advisory Committee of NSE Indices Limited. While a profession is one part of it, but he's equally creative and equally exciting personality because of his interest in music. And many of you who have interest in music, you would remember those black round disc. They are called vinyl records. So that's one of his passion, one of his area which he keeps always alive. I'm sure his traveling is something which keeps him equally excited and more learnings which he would probably share with us. We look forward to those. Without taking any further time, any further ado, I would request Mr. Mohanty to share his insights, his ideas, and his part of the experience so that all of us who are there on the call, we learn from how to build a business and enhance our business journey. Sir, welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Anjaneya, for your kind words. An absolute pleasure to be on your platform. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And really, I mean, when you look at your organization, it's one of the oldest and most, what can I say, when I grew up in my career, in those young days, your organization was one which we always looked up to. It has always been in the forefront of developing distributors, and whether it's the mutual fund distributors in our earlier days, it was be FD, and all of you, both of us go back to those markets also. Such large players on the capital market. So always an honor to be on your platform. So thank you for this opportunity.
Sir, I just take the lead and ask one question because this is part of the Mirae's journey. I was just going through your corporate presentation. I found various numbers. One number strikes me because it's somewhere or other many of our distributor partners would relate to it. This is while you're managing 1,73,000 crores of total assets and AM growth is 49%, all other numbers. Number of branches is 62. The secret behind the spread, the reach, presence, and still keeping yourself very thin. This is something which is close to our distributor business. Your thoughts and your secret behind it. Yeah.
No, actually, Anjaneya, very interestingly, when I was interviewing for this company, my boss asked me a question, how long will it take for the entire country to know your product? I said, "ये क्या पूछ रहे हो आप? How does it work?" I mean, so because I'm a sales guy, I flipped it to him and said, "How long will it take in Korea?" He said, "Half an hour, 40 minutes." I said, "What are you saying?" He said, "Everybody has a phone. I can reach anybody in 40, 45 minutes. Korea is a fully penetrated financial product market." That's when I realized that, it is going to be a digital game. people in India will transact digitally, but will do business physically. That's how it works. Now, see, there's this saying that, if you have to try to take on the large guys in the industry or any kind of strategy, you can't take them on at their strategy. Their strategy was 300 branches. If you start playing their strategy, they'll come at you with such large resources that you'll be buried in 2 days' time. So you have to develop your own strategy. And we thought at that point of time, since digitization was growing, we will play to the strengths of ourselves, build a tight team. And then today, incidentally, if you see the data on our B30 versus T30, the AUM spread is the same as the rest of the industry. We are getting money from every side in the same proportion as people who are sitting with 200 branches. And COVID just sort of enhanced that, it is going to be a digital journey going forward. Transacting will happen. So our guys kind of travel, do a lot of work. We probably are on the road more than a lot of our counterparts. But we have a long way to go in coverage of the country. And hopefully in the next 3-4 years, you will see a very different Mirae asset going forward.
Interesting. So there are 2 questions on the chat. One is about Sensex. This question has to come. I'm sure we all are Indians and we look forward to Sensex reaching somewhere. How much Sensex will be in 2030? So if you want to touch upon this point. Yeah.
See, 2030.
Yeah, 2030.
I don't know about Sensex. If I knew, I wouldn't be a salaried individual, to be very honest. But we are probably sitting at what is probably a very momentous time, because finally our market is broad basing. We are starting businesses, adding businesses in different ways. Pehle, if you ask us, our basic advice on core versus satellite portfolio was 60-40 or maybe 70-30, 70 towards large caps, 30 towards mid and small, which became 60-40. Now we are saying 50-50 because some of the industries which are good and strong are in mid caps. Suppose give you an example, you want to own an AMC, AMCs are mid caps, but they are a new industry forming. If you want to own hospitals, most of them are mid caps. So the broad basing of the market and the avenues to own more industries is finally happening in India. So wealth creation on this market in an economy which is going to double will be a lot beyond index also. So don't take a myopic view on the index. If you look at the last 2 years, hardly 4 or 5 sectors are running. And in those last 2 years, if you look at it today, the question in front of you, do you want to own what has run or do you want to own the rest of the market which is looking value? Complete value, no? Right? Your objective should be to buy what every fund manager wants to buy, a good business at a good price. Today, fantastic businesses are available at good prices. See, Anjani, I'll sum it up by saying onto that answer, there is a risk to investing. There is a risk to not investing. There is a risk to investing in India. There is a risk to not investing in India. Today, the risk to not investing in India is substantially high. People who don't invest and people who redeem, please don't. It's not my responsibility. It's their responsibility.
Very well said, sir. Next question, I'll just rephrase it. I think our partner is asking this, that how to be fair in times of zero brokerage direct plan. Probably how to be business viable in the times of less brokerage, zero brokerage.
No, it's a good question. Good question. See, first of all, the question we ask ourselves, there are 44 fund houses. Why should somebody invest with us? Right? It's the same thing for you. There are so many 124 MFDs. Why should somebody invest with you? That is primary. Because please understand one statement, and I'm making this in all humility. In every person's life, the star of that investment journey is the goal of that person. Right? Mujhe itna paisa, itna. That is the star. That is the motive. But the person who takes that investor to that goal is the rock star. Can you be that rock star? What is that value that you put in the table? Suppose our direct plan, suppose our regular, just for discussion's sake, the regular plan is say 1% and the direct plan is say 0.25. The difference of 0.75 is this community, right? what is that we put on the table which is higher than 0.75? Otherwise, he or she will take 0.25. That is the business model one has to take. And in that, I feel today goal planning is one of the easiest way to beat that, because a person who would have invested directly, he or she also invests on the past performance. Let the market crack now 20%, then we'll see the behavior. We've seen it in the past. But holding a person's behavior is probably the bigger role of a partner or a distributor than investing, right? So you have to develop that skills, and we run a separate presentation. Maybe I'll come back if you give it on an advisor alpha, where we say what is the alpha of the advisor.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you create that 0.75 justification is what this business is all about. आप किसी को भी बोलो ना मैं पैसा डबल करता हूं, that is your alpha. और जिस दिन डबल करके देते हो साल भर आप एनएवी हिस्ट्री बता सकते हो, सर वो पैसा डबल किया था मैंने. That is when you make an investment at tangible. Convert tangibles in your investor's life and I will see how many of them go to direct plan. डरेंगे जाने के लिए. Right?
So very true. So how much time do we have extra?
I have some time. No problem. Please.
Okay. So a couple of questions which are coming in, and I'm getting one question repeated on my ticker as well. So will mutual fund overtake life insurance in future? Interesting.
Interestingly, I think I sell more medical insurance than mutual fund at this moment, let me tell you, because the penetration of medical insurance is very, very less in everybody's life. So everybody should be medically insured. Life insurance, till the time it's insurance, is fantastic. And thankfully now we are seeing regulations where they're stopping the word investment along with insurance. If investment and insurance were the same thing, there would be one word in the dictionary. They're two different. Investment is mutual fund. So once some of these regulatory changes come, a lot can change going forward. And the pricing to distributors has to also mitigate. That's also a process which is started. Right or wrong, I'm not commenting. But ideally, globally, the insurance money is managed by mutual funds. And that's how the mutual fund AUM start looking bigger. Right? So in the next 10 years, you will see a lot of change. First thing that we have to rectify, forget insurance. Mutual funds have 4.5 crore folios. There are 9 crore demat accounts. That needs to be corrected first. I mean, how can a country have more demat account than folios, mutual fund folios? That needs to be corrected first.
It's the first hurdle that we have to cross, or rather first competition we have to cross.
Yeah. No, competition तो नहीं. अगर demat account खोल रहा है तो he or she is finding direct equity to be better than mutual funds. It's a reality. That's something which we have to face and work on it.
One question which is related to your previous answer, which is regarding zero brokerage and direct plan. You mentioned about advisory part, at least the goal planning part. As per the distributor side of regulation and RIA, this is one thing where sometimes we touch this thin line of advising or non-advising. So being a distributor, how far can we go in servicing the customer?
Incidental advice is allowed, no? Incidental advice is allowed.
If you can throw some light on that as to like what can be that limit where a distributor can go and practice his service of distribution so that he doesn't touch the RIA guidelines.
See, RIA is actually the complete other side of the spectrum where the RIA represents the client completely, right? Typically, the mutual fund distributor represents the manufacturer in front of the client. That's how it is positioned, right? Somewhere it is true as per that definition because the number of empanelments kind of does mean that there is a certain bias in this business. It's a reality, right? That's what this encompasses. But within the frame of that, I don't see any reason why you cannot aspire to double anybody's AUM. Right? Now, I do believe the RIA can cross over to other. This is just MFD, which is mutual fund distribution. RIA can be everything else. It's a reality. But I also believe that, your house cannot work with only being a mutual fund distributor. If you have to grow to aspire to own the full wallet share of a person, you should start getting accredited at the other places. And today, I firmly believe, this is my own opinion, Anjanya, please don't take me otherwise. I don't think a wealth proposition to any customer can be fulfilled without a direct equity proposition also. So I'm saying this because all your partners have this brilliant advantage of having the screen behind them with you. Some amount of that has to, because the fact is 9 crore demat account hai. There are more people there than this. So if that be the case, the wallet share there is higher than us. So you have to gain skills on doing that also.
So multi-product relationship
Yes.
brings in more
Cannot
wallet
be
share.
just a biased relationship.
So one question which is a strong one, some of our partners have asked, this is related to a recent happening. And in fact, it has happened a couple of times in last 3-4 years we have observed. I'm talking about the front running or other news which are floating around, and nothing really specific to any company or any entity. Just want to understand when this situation comes in, or when this news comes out, many of our investors come back and inquire about how to react and what to read into it, and it puts mutual fund investment as such in a bad name. So,
True.
your views on this and how to tackle this, please.
See, I actually, if you Google me, I have quoted saying that I can lose my job on non-performance, not an issue, but I cannot lose my job on non-compliance. Right? There is somebody in South Korea who has entrusted us the business in India, and there is the law. There is something which is beyond law. Our job is to work within the law, and hence all of us have to work within the law. Now, sometimes, and please, thoda khul ke baat karunga, don't take me otherwise. One, there is the law. There are people who follow the law. There are people, obviously, due to these cases, are people who are not following the law. What is your reaction to them? Is very important, right? If you feel कि चलो ठीक है return आ रहा है थोड़ा बहुत चलेगा, then that doesn't work, because these are serious crimes. In the Western world, some of these are non-bailable warrants actually, right? So the market has to react very severely on this. And your job is to protect your investor against all these incidents. Is a fact. देखो जिधर पैसा है उधर चोरी है, पैसा नहीं है तो चोरी नहीं है, right? And that is why the regulatory framework is there. Now, somebody who has gone beyond the regulatory framework should also get a reaction from your side, is my humble request. That's Mirae Asset tomorrow. I'm completely responsible for the statement I'm making. Give that reaction to us. That's how it should be. Where there is this thing called ESG. ESG was first introduced by regulators globally. But in Europe, people started saying that we will not invest in funds which are not ESG compliant. We will not invest in companies which are not ESG compliant. Hence, there was a pushback to all companies to also start doing ESG. If there is a signal from the market that all these people will have some penalty from your end, lot will change at our end also. But when such news comes, it's never a happy day, to be very honest. The reason I do this business is it is a fiduciary role. There is not a bigger kick in anybody's life to make money for people who know how to make money. Even if they are earning money through salary, they know how to make money. They come to us with that hard-earned money. And if we don't safeguard this, then it's an absolute failure of our responsibility. And we have actually, if you ask me very honestly, we have no right to do this business. So, but are you inculcating this part in your business as a principle? Is something which I leave on you, right? How do you behave when you hear this? And how do you behave in front of your investor? Will also set the tone for the investor behavior on principles, right? And then थोड़ा philosophical है, but ये सच्चाई है. That's something which I leave on you, because ये रहेगा. Now, only part which I disagree is some narratives which come कि हर फंड में होता है कुछ पकड़े जाते हैं. हर फंड में नहीं होता है. And आज के framework, let me tell you, थोड़ा I'll speak on behalf of the regulator on this one because I'm seeing how they work. They don't take any data from us. No data to the regulator goes from Mirae. They take data from the backend, from our RTA, from our custodians. They come to us with finding. That is how strong today's regulator is, right? So the environment that is around us now is becoming very tight. चोर पकड़ा जाएगा, ये reality है. Make no mistake on that one. Okay.
Yeah, and I think, I must say this session has been really amazing in terms of clarity of thought, sir, and of course, guidance for all our partners. I'll stop here in terms of questions and any message that you would want to. Of course, we have shared lot many things. Before we conclude and closing remarks, anything from your side?
I
For
just
partners
repeat what I said कि अगर ये सेशन हम 3 साल बाद करें, अगर मार्केट तो ले ही जाएगा हमें, बट सब डबल AUM पे बैठे होंगे, all of us, right? Let me tell you, make that statement very clearly. But we have to build certain principles around how we build our business. उस पे थोड़ा ध्यान दें. पैसा आ रहा है, लोगों के पैसे बन रहे, हमारा भी AUM बढ़ेगा. बट वो थोड़ा fiduciary नेचर जो मैंने बात किया उसको थोड़ा अपहोल्ड करें. मैं आपके सामने बैठा हूं with 16 years of track record on our equity side, which most of you have probably seen. 16 years of debt track record without a single credit issue in any of our portfolios. कभी भी कोई एक default नहीं है in any of our portfolios, right? The third most important part, and I'm very happy to say because I'll say it as on date, we are yet to get a letter from SEBI in any form. We have not deviated the law even by a fourth decimal place. And that is a controllable, that we can do. Please understand, one of my team members has not given an investment declaration on time, can get me a letter from SEBI. For 16 years, that also has not happened. It's a business of discipline. That's something which I say very happily in front of you. And my endeavor on behalf of my team will be to keep that intact.
So nice, sir. I think, my colleagues and partners, all of them would agree in partnering with Mirae Asset Management or distributing Mirae Asset Management products across, seeing the clarity of thoughts and straightforward approach and ethical business.
Just one, because partnership shuruat hai. At this moment, some of you might have seen that we have a 16-year journey, which I'll break into 2 parts, 14 years and last 2 years. Last 2 years our performance has not been what our earlier 14 years was. Is something which all of you can track. There is nothing to hide, or we don't want to hide. The reason behind this is we have not agreed with some of the run-ups in the market. I have not participated in that. Our positions are more in private banks, healthcare, consumption, which are beginning to play out. If you look at the last 1 month, the market is also changing. And I'm very happy to see we track it on a daily basis. Some of our stocks are beginning to run. Some of the parts which were called, क्या कहते हैं, froth था ना, एक word चल रहा था बाजार में. That froth we had not participated in, and quite honestly, we had not expected the market, that part, to keep running for 2.5 years. Probably that was an error of omission. Hence, some of our portfolios were behind the market in the last 2 years, especially the large cap and the focus. Rest have been okay. But watch them from here on, from the next 3 years is my submission. Some of our positions are beginning to play out.
So comforting to hear that, sir. So friends, like sir said, it's a beginning or re-beginning of the relationship with Mirae Asset Management. I'm sure. And every word that was spoken today was golden. And let's practice it. And rule of 72, I'm sure many of you remember, in 3 years, we will be looking at 2x AUM. Is something which we all will definitely work practically. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your time and extended time.
Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you. Bye.
It's our pleasure having you on the call. Thank you on behalf of all partners. Thank you once again. Take care.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.